Hello guys, welcome to Daddy Share Space and welcome to another episode of Daddy Share Space Daily. So I have some questions and comments that I have written down here that I want to try to get to in this video. I don't have a lot of time, but I'm going to try to fire off some of them as quickly as I can. So someone asked the question as to why I always keep the door closed in the shop. And that's simple. I just like my privacy. I don't really want all my neighbors, minding my business like that. Before I used to feel like I was going to be doing a lot of work in the backyard, and I still want to do that. However, in my mind, it's like I want to either get a tent to work inside of that gives me a little bit of privacy, or something like that, because I just don't want people just minding my business that closely. And who knows, I mean, you don't know people's financial situation and who's gonna turn desperate to start doing shady stuff. As far as my 18-inch or my M18 Milwaukee miter saw, the 12-inch, so someone asked the question as to what exactly happened to it. I will report back and tell you exactly what the repair shop tells me when I get that device back. But I have been told that it was the electronic brake from one person, and then I was also told that it was a motherboard issue from another person, and they said they had gotten theirs repaired, and they said that it's just like that, and basically it's going to need to be replaced about every I guess 4 or so years. Mine went down, I want to say probably it started acting funny probably around the 3.5-year mark. And what makes it significant to me is the fact that I'm not a contractor. I don't use that saw like in a production setting. And I bought my DeWalt FlexFold saw at the same time as my Milwaukee, and the DeWalt's doing fine. The Milwaukee's in the shop. So being that they basically both had an equal workload, I can't really excuse the failure on my Milwaukee saw, not being a production type person. Now, next thing is the Amana countersink bit. Yes, I do realize I need to adjust the depth so that I actually get a countersink. I have the Allen key somewhere around the shop, but I have to find that. And yeah, I agree with that. That's one of the problems with having a lot of tools and not having an adequate organization system in place. I do like the ideas about the Toys for Tot, where I can make small wooden toys for kids, and that would be a way for me to hone in my woodworking skills, but also be able to do something for others. That's a great idea. My only concern with that would be is like using regular 2x4 lumber, is it safe for children? Because I wouldn't want to cause any issues with kids as far as that, and I don't buy premium wood at this time, so there's that. As far as the Bench Dogs fence, I got a question about would I feel comfortable cutting an 800 by 400 mil board using the Bench Dogs extension on the Festool CS50 table saw. I have not tried that. That's something that I could look into. But one thing I'll say right off the bat is the under support on the extension is not extensive. So I'm thinking that, it's worth a try, and I may give it a shot. But because the under support is pretty small on the offside, I'm not sure if that, if the board, is actually going to do very well under those circumstances. I mean, like I said, you talk about, what is that, 40 centimeters? That's not that large. It should be okay, but I think you would definitely need to counter lever or put pressure down on the side that's not supported to kind of keep it balanced, because of that short end on your offcut. The board could potentially tilt a bit forward, which could cause a little bit of variation to cut. If I remember to, I'll try to cut a board to these dimensions and do a short video showing that happening to see, if it works. But up to this point, I have not had, other than when I did my unboxing video, I have not used the Bench Dogs fence to the full extent. I bought the full capacity because I like to be prepared for anything when I do purchase something. But so far I've been using it a lot. I mean, it stays on my CS50 table saw, so I use it all the time. I just haven't had to use the extension that much. And then someone asked me if I ever come across tools that maybe I purchased in the past, and I'm like, oh, I forgot I bought that. Yes, all the time. Again, that shop organization that is killing me in as far as that. Someone asked me if I have any Festool drawer slides. I do not. When I look at the price of the Festool drawer slides, and then I compare that with making some out of plywood with real traditional heavy duty drawer slides, I think I'm going to go that route. I've even seen the new Festool Sysport that I've saw prices from 600 to like 800 bucks, but it has a very limited capacity. Sure, it looks nice as far as fitting within the Festool ecosystem. However, I can't see it as being something that I feel comfortable paying for. I would rather spend that money on tools that I have on my list to get, stuff like the STM 1800, whether it be the Contoro, you know, workbenches, stuff like that. That's where I see that as being a better way of spending my money. And so one of the comments that I got, it's funny because I was thinking about this and then I saw the comment afterwards, which is going in line with the benchtop tools, and whether you do a flip cart or whatever. So this is what I think I'm going to do. Of course, I'm working on my wood cart now, trying to make it to where my wood is all more in one centralized location, even if that means I have to make a secondary wood storage temporary device or temporary holder for that, so I can kind of wheel the stuff out of my way. The more of that back storage area I can reclaim, the better and easier it will be for me to both set up my tools, and also keep in mind I'm setting up my tools in a way to where I can film it. And so because I'm using tripods as opposed to having some overhead mounting system for the cameras, it makes it to where sometimes I have to totally shut down a portion of the shop just to get the angle that I want. And so there's a lot of shifting behind the scenes of me moving tools back and forth to try to make that happen. And sometimes when it takes a lot of time, it just means that I can make less videos. It's easier. Like if I was just to stick with the French cleat system or set up the way that I had it, that would be perfect. But I have some boards that have paint on them that I was making a dollhouse build a long time ago. And it's like, as I look at that, the French cleats are going to be looking all kinds of cattywampus, because some will be painted white, some will not be painted, whatever. And so I was thinking I wanted to have access to my paint supplies, which were far back on the storage side of the shop. So I had to go back and rearrange stuff. And every time I go to rearrange these things, because I have so much wood that's not on my lumber cart, because I can move my lumber cart, even though it's heavy, I could just move it around and get that stuff out of the way conveniently. But since I have so much wood just laying on the floor, leaning up against the wall, when I need to get to that area, I have to move each thing board by board to another location, which I need to make a solution for that. Hence why I'm making carts and dealing with that. The final thing that I wanted to touch on before I get out of here is I want to take, if this is possible, it's an idea to have in my head, but I have to go home and see if it's physically possible. What I'd like to do is make kind of a workbench that is the same height as my MFT, that is a longer workbench, maybe 2 parts. And if it's possible, I want to be able to put my drill press, my benchtop sander, all of those tools that I have an individual cart for. I'm thinking of just putting those up under a bench that is the same height as my MFT, if it's possible, so that before I built those individual carts, so I wouldn't have to pull the tool out to use it. But because I'm running out of space, I'm thinking that if I build just one bench and store all the tools underneath that bench and just pull each tool out and use it accordingly, it's going to give me more work surface for a bench top surface, which is going to be great. And then it's also going to provide a neater location for all those tools. So if I'm doing like videos and stuff, if the tools are down below, kind of out of sight, out of mind, it doesn't make the shop look quite so chaotic. So the tools that I'm thinking about moving down is obviously my router table, my benchtop sander, my drill press. So my GoPro overheated, so let me just finish this part off and then I'll get out of here. But the ones that I'm concerned about is the drill press and the bandsaw. If I could get those underneath the table, that would be outstanding. And even though I don't want to have to lift those tools on a regular basis, I think it's better for me to lift them so that I have the work surface on top of the bench. And then the other thing that I could do is, yeah, I could put the Kreg jig underneath and and also my jointer and planer. So I'm going to try to draw up some rudimentary plans for how I could do that and see if it's possible. The reason why I was talking about making 2 benches is like it would be long, kind of like the same length as that bench that's along one of the walls by the refrigerator. If I make it that long, it may be kind of difficult to swing it around. So if I make it in 2 pieces, I can set it up in an L shape, or I can make a wide table or a long table, which would be very helpful in the shop. And depending upon the actual depth of the bench, who knows, maybe I could store sustainers on the opposite side. I don't know. I mean, I really have to kind of get my spatial awareness down to figure out what can fit in what space. But that's something that I'm be thinking about working on. But for right now, I need to get the lumber more situated so I can move my lumber cart further back so that I can get access to my other tools. The other thing, the biggest thing that I need to do is make a sys port for my sustainers, because I'm not able to get to my tools in the way that I would like to. Like the other day, I wanted to use the Festool jigsaw, but I didn't want to uncover all of those tools just to get to it. So I just used my Milwaukee one. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for today. If I come up with something else, I'll make a quick video. But I want to thank you guys for taking time to watch the video, and I'll see you in my next one. Take care.